Kanban. The principles of Kanban are being fervently used in the software development field to enhance the process as a lightweight alternative to Agile. Let's start by looking at what the problem was that led the developers to adopt Kanban. Software teams may have a lot of work in progress, which means very little actually gets done. This would mean that the average time to complete each task only increases. There could even be some specific individual in a team that causes a bottleneck. The result, invariably, would be untimely delivery, or not keeping up to the promise of delivery. So how did Kanban resolve this? Let us first understand what exactly Kanban is. Kanban is a scheduling system for lean and just-in-time production processes. The word Kanban stands for Kan, which means card, and Ban, which means signal. It's the system which was historically used to denote the need for further inventory. What? Kanban was developed in the 1940s at Toyota in Japan. It proves and maintains a high level of production. Additionally, it became an effective tool in support of running a production system as a whole. One of the key components of the Kanban system is the Kanban cards. These cards indicate the requirement to move the production material within the manufacturing or production unit from one department to the other. It also serves as a sanction chart that indicates that there's need for an increase in production materials. Kanban cards work towards achieving a demand-driven system. Materials are ordered when needed and not stocked. It reduces the chances of over or undersupply of materials. How? Let's understand Kanban by describing the 3-bin system, which is a simple material procurement system that's implemented. The production is carried out using supplied parts. One of these bins is on the factory floor, which is where the demand is created. The second bin is the factory store, which is where the inventory is controlled, and the third bin is the supplier's place of business. An inventory detail card is attached to each of these bins, indicating the contents of the bin. This is the Kanban card. When the first bin becomes empty, it's refueled by the second bin. This would empty the bin at the factory store, which then gets refueled with the bin at the supplier's place of business. This process will ensure that there's just one extra bin available for refueling. Each of the bins at the factory floor, factory store, and the supplier's place of business contains the inventory detail card, Kanban card as we call it. This will ensure that the manufacturing plant never runs out of the product. It's a closed-loop system. Only as much material is provided as is required. This eliminates the chances of an oversupply of production material. The spare bin works as a buffer to smooth out any uncertainties due to transport and supply of material. How is it used? We have a whiteboard or progress board that shows 3 states: to do, in progress, and done. Under each of these categories, we have tasks assigned. Using Kanban, what we do is assign a work in progress limit. This limit indicates the number of cards or tasks that are allowed to be put up in that column. This way, if someone wants to shift a task from the to-do column to the work in progress column, we say no. First, we have to complete the tasks already in that column and move it to done, and then look at new to-do tasks. This process, when applied to each member of a team, you ensure that each member has a limit. This way, if there's a bottleneck in one member's column, it gets moved to another member who's not exhausted their to-do limit, and all tasks get shared and divided accordingly. The way this works, in theory, is that when there's a high priority item in the to-do column, the whole team works together to clear out the work in progress column in order to make room for the high priority item. This is theory, though. In practice, it may not work so effectively. If there's a high priority item, someone might say, "I'll take it up while the team's working on the rest." This would lead to the limits becoming meaningless because the team did not adhere to it. This happens because it's hard to communicate to a client that you're sorry you can't take up their task because your columns are full. However, with agreement within the organization, the process usually works fine. This gave way to a method that was Kanban-ish. Under this, we begin aging each task in the Work in Progress column on the board. You could say that a 1-day-old task is a baby, 2 days an adult, 3 days an old man, 4 days dead, and 5 days a zombie. The number of days is marked on the task card on the board. This way of working gives you an exact visual idea of what task is taking long and why. Is that task a dead task, or does it need any external help to be completed? In summary, there's a lot more to it, but the core of Kanban involves visual cards that help the team to see where they stand and how far they need to go.